hard place. Like a wind from Goldland he sweeps by, blown far from his homeland in search of glory and honor. We walk in the garden of his turbulence.
All right, movie fans, you ready to return to the superhero universe? Time for the latest edition. Good answer.
I am not.
It's time for the latest edition of the Movie Joust podcast. Jason Evans here with you. I'm joined, the voice you heard a moment ago was Josh Sewell. Jesse Nussman is also with us today.
Hi.
Gentlemen, we have two tasks ahead of us. One is we're going to discuss the new superhero movie, Supergirl, which both Josh and I saw. We sat next to each other, leaned over to each other, whispering a few times during this film, what the hell is going on now?
Oh, gosh.
Jesse, unfortunately, did not see it, so his role in that part of the conversation may be a little bit less.
Is it unfortunate? Is it unfortunate, Jason?
I have some general questions that I can pose, but yeah, I don't feel too bad about having missed this one.
Yeah. And then after that, something a bit more fun. We're going to talk a little bit about Toy Story 5 and also get into sort of some of the most consistently good franchises. You know, like if this franchise produces a film, are you like, yep, automatically I'm there because I know it is going to be high quality. And so we'll discuss a little bit of that. I did a little bit of research would be the wrong word. I just did a little, trip down memory lane with some franchises, and I've got some other contenders alongside the Toy Story franchise, which is probably, spoiler alert, probably the most consistent franchise out there.
I was going to say, when we get there, I'm going to be like Captain Nitpick and Captain Asterisk and be like, does this count? Does this count? And you're going to be like, shut up, Josh.
But let's start, as we said, with Supergirl. And Josh, because you saw it alongside me, why don't you go ahead and tell folks the basic general plot of this film?
Hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people. Home is wherever you are, buddy.
So the basic plot is, what if Guardians of the Galaxy and Mad Max Fury Road had the ugliest baby you've ever seen?
Oh, God.
That's pretty damn accurate, by the way.
Yeah, it's, and I'm trying to figure out where this takes place in the chronology of Superman. Not that it matters, but this would be after, right?
Yes,
I guess,
it clearly is.
Yeah. So, we briefly meet Kara Zor-El, a.k.a. Supergirl, at the end of Superman, played by Millie Alcock, who I want to state up front before the worst people on the internet come at us and be like, yes, one of us. No, the movie is garbage, but she's great. Like, what makes me mad about this movie is they found a really great Supergirl and did nothing with her. So we'll get to that in a second. But so she is off on another planet with a red sun, right? Because that's what allows her to get drunk and process trauma from the destruction of her planet. Because this is one of those superhero movies. It's, it's about trauma, actually. And this really annoying little kid comes into the bar and says her parents have been murdered, or her family's been murdered by the most bland, generic villain in the history of movies. And could somebody help her? And Kara's like, not my business. But then this same villain shoots Crypto with a poison dart, and now she cares because she has to find the antidote. So for the next hour and change, they're trying to track down this villain and get the antidote for the CGI dog. That's the movie. Yay!
I noticed, by the way, that you did not mention Lobo, the character that is played the character that is played by Jason Momoa. That I guess
pops up for 10 minutes total for no reason.
Yeah.
Oh, is he really not in that much of the movie? Because I've been seeing Jason Momoa all over the marketing for
Jesse.
He's done way more promotion for the film than he is actually in the film.
Jesse, not only is he barely in the movie, if you took every single moment he's in the film and took it out of the film, the movie's overall plot would not change at all.
No.
And it'd be a better film.
Like,
he
why is he
literally
there
made, like,
then?
the vast majority of his scenes, it's like a medium shot on his face. I think he interacted with the other characters maybe twice
Yeah,
for 10 seconds.
You think this is maybe a like the suits at Warner Brothers being like, we need to shoehorn
a star.
an old,
Millie Alcock is not enough of a
right,
star,
or
and
an
she's not.
old DC person, but like he can't be Aquaman, so just like come up with some random side character and like cut to him, and he can still be like, booyah!
That's the thing that, like, I don't know, like, we probably shouldn't start by arguing about the most insignificant part of the movie, but I think it's representative of all the movie's problems, which is, this is going to look cool for the fans before they figure out why this thing should happen at all in concept of narrative or story. And so this is not a thing where it's like, okay, well, yeah, technically Chris Evans was Johnny Storm, but he's going to be so amazing as Captain America that we're willing to, you know, risk the ire of the nerds who's like, well, technically he was already, like, Jason Momoa was like a solid Aquaman. And I don't know why you risk the confusion of people being like, wait, he was this, but now he's this.
Well, but
if
Josh,
you're
he
trying
looks
to
nothing.
restart the franchise.
He's wearing so much damn makeup, and there's so much CGI going on that he doesn't really. You don't look at him and go,
Well,
"Oh, that's Aquaman."
It's
So
the
I'm not.
voice.
He
You
kinda
can
looks like-
recognize the voice.
He kind of looks like Gene Simmons in all the trailers. It's been a little
does.
confusing.
Yeah.
Look, I don't even. We don't need to talk about
Regardless, it doesn't
the Lobo
matter.
of it
Yeah.
because like I said, he's irrelevant to the plot.
Yeah.
He's irrelevant to the and frankly, even though he's indicative of the problems in the film, he's irrelevant to the problems of the film. The problems of the film are first of all the CGI looks like something from a decade or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's very much sort of that old, Jesse, if you remember, like the old way DC used to do stuff. There's lots of things moving around. It has no tactileness to it at all. None of it feels real. I don't think Millie Alcock actually physically struck anyone in this entire film, even though she's fighting a lot. It just, everything about it looks fake. Everything about it looks computer generated. The entire film, I think, maybe there are a couple real scenes outdoors. The entire film appears to have been shot on sound stages, on green screens. Again,
But
nothing.
the sun is very
tactile.
important. The sun is
Yeah.
very important to the story, but let's shoot this all in warehouses. And one of our colleagues, Matt Goldberg, he, you know, and I'm gonna like paraphrase what he said, but it's like, it's basically like the most anticipated superhero movie of 2012. Like, it's like you made this movie at peak superhero when the studios were like, we'll just throw it out there, it'll make $1 billion. They eat this slop up. It's like they put it on a shelf, put it out now with minimal changes, and it's just really frustrating.
Well, this brings me to the one question I wanted to ask you guys, which, like, I do not sense any excitement whatsoever for this movie, and it sounds like from you guys and the other people I know who saw it that, like, it's just sort of like, yeah, it's not very good. And so last summer we all talked about Superman. I think all of us really enjoyed the James Gunn Superman movie, and there was a part of our conversation where it was like, part of the online narrative was like, oh man, is it now DC's time? Like Marvel has fallen by the wayside, but now DC is going to be the new superhero universe everyone is obsessed with. We're going to push back against the haters who are like, superhero movies are dead. Is this just sort of like, I feel like we've said final nail in the coffin for like years at this point, but is this just the like, this is really like, okay, now this is the final proof of last year the thing was like, Superman, big iconic character, a really enjoyable pop movie that, like, I think we all walked out of that movie and were like, wow, they like rarely have made a good Superman movie, and here is one that's like really fun and creative and enjoyable. And this just sounds like superhero slop from like the last decade.
It absolutely
is. Is this just a confirmation of like, all right, this stuff is not at like the peak of pop culture anymore. We have moved on. There will be superhero movies after this, but like,
let's be clear.
No one is as invested in this anymore.
Yeah.
let's be clear. Spider-Man is going to be huge later this year.
Sure.
I think Avengers will probably be big. I'm not going to judge quality on it yet because I've got no sense of it. I think the buzz is coming out that Spider-Man's pretty good. So it's not that superhero movies are dead.
But of like the era of the 2010s where it's like every time one of these comes out, like it's some huge event and like everyone and their grandma is gonna go see it because it's like, well, I gotta know how Ant-Man 5 connects to Captain America.
That's gone. I think that's gone.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like I think that by the end of the year, because like really the only other superhero movies we have left this year are Spider-Man and Avengers, unless I'm forgetting something.
No, I think that's it.
I think 2027 returns us to the superhero default before the big explosion happened. X-Men and stuff in 2000, but basically 2008 with Iron Man and Dark Knight. That's when like the huge explosion happened. I think that next year we return to the default where like Spider-Man movies are always going to be huge. Batman and Superman movies are going to be solid. Like the big Hall of Famers. Right, those are going to keep making money, but we're done with the insignificant like D tier characters making $1 billion.
I think you're probably right. I will point out. I believe that DC is still making a Clayface.
Oh
movie.
Yeah, that is coming out this year. But
that's
like
still happening.
That this reception does not bode well for the interest in that.
So you go from Superman to Supergirl, which is a huge drop off a cliff, to Clayface. Now, granted, Clayface is a $40 million R-rated horror movie, so that's kind of its own thing.
They're using the IP there to do something very different. I think it's not and I'm fine with that kind of thing. I'm mystified. I'm completely. I have no answer or explanation for why James Gunn and Peter Safran, and I want to be clear about something. James Gunn definitely knows how to make good movies and knows how to treat superhero characters. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies are some of the best stuff that Marvel ever did. We talked about Superman is excellent. So James Gunn is put in charge of DC. He makes a great Superman movie. And then this is what he does next.
But he didn't do this. This is done by certified Hollywood hack Craig Gillespie, who has made nothing but bad movies.
I would disagree with that. Finish your point. Sorry.
I think I, Tonya is pretty good. But regardless of the Craig Gillespie of it, I have to think that Peter Gunn at least had some creative control over
James Gunn. He's not a detective from the 70s.
Sorry, I got James Gunn, Peter Safran, his producing partner combined together. In any event, James Gunn had some degree of control over what direction the story takes, where are we going with DC, what kind of things are we trying to do, and I have no answer. I have no explanation for how this is what he wanted to do next. They had to know from test screenings that this film was going to not go over very well with audiences. He had to have looked at this film, the early shoots and things like that, and said, you know what, the bad guys here are really just a recycling of the Ravagers from my Guardians of the Galaxy films, except with no humor, no charm, and they're child rapists. Maybe we could find...
Yeah, that's the other thing I saw online that I totally forgot I wanted to ask you guys about, was someone being like, Supergirl is the first summer blockbuster since Sound of Freedom to like deal with child sex. I was like, what?
That's the Mad Max Fury Road of it all. They literally call them like, they stole our brides, and it's all these like young girls dressed in white. I'm like,
okay.
You're literally pulling from way better movies that does nothing but show what a pale imitation this is to better stuff. I'm all for paying homage to stuff that you love, but not at the expense of making yours look like a ripoff.
Well, and it sounds like this movie is at least like, to maybe give James Gunn like 1% of credit, is like, it sounds like the basis for this movie is like a pretty well-regarded, like beloved Supergirl run in the comics, from what I've understood from some of our colleagues. But as soon as the trailers
to be clear, a like a limited comic series that was like acclaimed for its use of color.
That's what I was saying. Is I remember when the
This is
trailers
gray
for this
and
were coming
brown.
This film
out.
looks terrible.
Yeah,
It's not enjoyable to look at. And again, the thing that bugs me, I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, you know, Superman looked bright, it looked beautiful, it was on Earth. Like everything they did right in Superman, they did wrong in this film. And again, I don't understand how the same producing people, the same creative vision were behind these projects. It makes no sense to me.
It really does feel like the screenplay was written in 2013, because it's like you're after Superman, which is like, yes, you can have horrible things happen to you, but what matters is who you are, what you do with the cards you've been dealt. And then this is like, what if it's trauma actually? And it's like, no, we're done with that. Like, and again, to be fair, I know you never want to go in hating a movie, and like, again, Millie Alcock is great in this movie. Like, it made me angry that they didn't give her a better movie, because as Supergirl, she's terrific. Her interactions with David Corenswet, like, he pops up a handful of times in the movie to remind you how much better Superman was.
Mhm.
Like, the movie has life in it for.
I was bothered by this as well. The only thing David Cornsweet does is show up on a little video monitor so that she can talk to him. Like they have FaceTime video calls.
Oh,
No, there's
kind of like
there's 2 or 3 scenes where they interact, like towards the end, and there's a couple of like flashbacks and stuff.
sounds
But-
like those Spider-Man movies where it's like, yeah, but we gotta get Robert Downey Jr. in there, and he's like, hey, I'm
That's where it is.
FaceTiming you from a wedding I'm at right now.
Yeah, and there's a couple. Yeah, now that you mention it, because and the big thing in the Spider-Man movie is like, you can't even care enough about me to be here, and then he steps out and he's actually there. There's a couple. Yeah, so they ripped something else off too. So thanks for bringing that up. I was trying to be nice, and yeah, never mind. The other thing I will say is I genuinely liked the stuff on Krypton, or what was left of Krypton, where she's interacting with David.
If you'd given me an origin story of her involving Krypton, that would have been fast. That would have been fun.
Yeah. The movie kind of comes to life in those scenes. Now, granted, it's because David Krumholtz is a great actor, and like you can tell he's working hard to make this stuff seem.
Especially because he's speaking
plausible.
a foreign tongue. He never speaks English.
He never speaks English. Yeah, and so it is really funny. There's a couple of reminders about Superman being sent away, and then in my head, in the Krypton scenes, I'm like, they're trying to tell me that David Krumholtz and Bradley Cooper are brothers. Cool, got it. But yeah, that stuff. If it, like Jason said, if it was, if the movie was mostly that, I think the quality rises significantly.
Yeah, look, there are a million more things we could say about some of the problems with this film. I'll close with this one. And look, we've been kind of spoiler-ish talking and the such. At the very end of the film, Jesse, I hope this doesn't ruin anything for you. At the very end of the film,
I'm watching this on a plane. You're not gonna.
There's this dramatic moment where the young girl who has been next to been sort of Supergirl's sidekick to some extent throughout the movie, is facing the big bad guy who's generic and terrible and nothing memorable or interesting about him, but she's got a sword to his throat and she's about to kill him, and Supergirl says, "No, don't do it. It will wreck you. Vengeance is not the path." All this other kind of stuff, and so the girl decides not to kill him, and then Supergirl immediately picks up the sword and kills him. I was just like, I'm like, what's the message here? What are we doing? So you have more trauma, you're more damaged, so you're allowed to do it, and she's not. Like, it is the strangest arc. It's the strangest resolution to all this stuff. I don't get it.
It is a weird mixed message, like, because we had said from the halfway point of the movie, I was like, this is a Joker situation where like comic rules don't necessarily translate well to cinema rules, because it's like, in comics it makes sense, but like it's the Joker thing, whereas like literally the best course of action is to kill this guy because he has murdered thousands of people. The world is an unarguably better place without the Joker here. The only reason to keep him alive is that you need to sell more Joker comics. Like, so they're trying to do that here, where it's like, you can't kill the child rapist, like then you'll be as bad as the child rapist. It's like, no, killing a child rapist does not make you as bad as a child rapist. And yes, her killing him at the end is supposed to be like, I'm already damaged. I'm not going to put this onto you, this pure innocent soul. But I'm just like, let the girl kill the child rapist who murdered her family. Like, she'll probably be okay.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, yeah.
Enough of this. Let's get on to something a lot more fun and a lot more productive.
Boys! Yay! We go from child rapist to Woody and Buzz.
I still can't believe that's what the Supergirl movie is about.
In a PG-13 film marketed with toys. Yeah.
All right. Hard stop.
Yeah.
No more
Super
Supergirl. So do we need to talk about Toy Story 5, or do we just want to launch
good.
into franchises?
Yeah, it's really good. As a segue into what we're going to talk about, really weird that a 30-year-old franchise can continually crank out, if not bangers, like ones that justify their own existence. Like,
Yeah, like
we still have new and creative things to say with these characters.
Do you, Forky, to Karen Beverly to be your beloved bride?
Yeehaw! I now pronounce you husband and knife. Oh, poison the maid of honor!
Bonnie, there's a package for you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lilypad. Let's play.
Extinction, not again.
Yeah,
Well, I
don't
think
know-
really quick, I think, and then Jesse, to me, the amazing thing about Toy Story 5 is that it's the main character's Jesse.
Yeah.
That Woody is absolutely a side character.
Yeah.
The fact that they sort of, turn things on its head in that kind of way, and yet still make a great. The thing I love about it is they had a story they wanted to tell. They had a perspective they wanted to give us. There was a reason to make this film beyond we want to make money off of this franchise. And
We need to
anytime
sell
that
more
happens,
merch. Yeah.
yeah. Anytime that happens, you usually end up with a good, like, they had a good idea, and that's what caused them to make the movie, as opposed to we need to make more money. And that's what I loved about it. I was sitting here watching it, and I was thinking to myself, we have really interesting perspectives, interesting ideas here about toys, about the screen world and all that other kind of stuff, and also about our characters. And let's tell that story, as opposed to let's do the safe thing and the obvious thing, which would have been to make another Woody and Buzz buddy movie. This is not that at all.
Yeah. And any movie that, as much as Toy Story 3 is a masterpiece, one thing that always rubbed me the wrong way about that movie is how, the twist villain turn in that movie is like, you've got this unredeemable, evil purple pink bear. I love the versions of these movies that we get in 4 and 5, which is the villains aren't villains, they're antagonists. Like Greta Lee as the lily pad, she's fantastic in this movie. Like, she starts out as what you think is going to be a generic villain, and you're like, no, they're not saying lily pads or iPads are totally 100% evil. They're saying this is a new form of play that we have to figure out how to integrate in a healthy way, which I think is a really solid message in the modern era. Not to pull the special needs dad card, but I was like, there is a good purpose for screens. Like, it's helping my daughter learn in ways that she can't get in a traditional classroom. So, like, I don't want a all screens are evil movie. And I appreciate that the movie is a little more nuanced with that.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I was just going to ask if Jason saw it. But because honestly, I have nothing to add that you guys haven't said. Like, I continue to be impressed that even if I don't think the last couple Toy Story movies are as good as the first couple, but then again, I'm probably saying that of the first two were just, I am of the age where I was a child when those first two came out. So they were on constant rotation in my house. But I continue to be impressed that these movies don't feel like them trying to wring like an extra drop out of the soaking
Never feels like a
rag.
cash grab. It's never a
Right.
cash grab. It is that we
You're
have something
always
to say.
afraid that it is going to be that, and then somehow it's like, oh no, you found a creative idea for like, if you're going to do another one, like this would be the logical next story. And then still sitting through it of like, I went to a screening with like a bunch of children, was sitting next to another one of our colleagues, Trace Sever, and like both him and I are like, you know, dudes in our like early 30s, and we were surrounded by 8-year-olds, and we were still just sort of like, it's like hanging out with your friends again. You know what I mean? Like, just like good hangout vibes. And
yeah, and that's the thing I think that is still going to continuously separate this from something like, you know, Minions. Not to dog Minions. I enjoy some of the Minion movies. They're really funny. But you're not forming generational bonds with Minions. You know, like it's, you know, there's character, there's personality, and even when they're not in the movie that much, like you said, Jason, Tom Hanks had to have spent what, maybe 6 hours in the sound booth this time.
Yeah.
He still reminds you that Woody's a person. I know he's a toy, but like that Woody is like a character, that he's having this actual life off screen.
There's almost a sitcom vibe with a lot of the voice actors in this series at this point, of just sort of like, there's such a, in the way that like when sitcoms, after they get like a few seasons underneath them, like there's such a built-in camaraderie between the actors and the players on the show, that just like, you can just feel like an effortless chemistry between everyone in this movie, of just sort of, it's like, oh hey, yeah, we're getting back together, it's all relaxed, like we know what makes each other laugh, we know how to play off each other. And it's, even if this is, I think on initial viewing, my least favorite of the Toy Story movies, like I had a fun time, and I'm impressed that these movies continue to be, you know, that there hasn't been a bad one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is like, I think it's a good segue into what we're going to talk about, but like they range anywhere from all-time masterpieces to really good. And, you know, I think we've reached a point where we can kind of reevaluate and say, some are probably overpraised, some are underpraised, you know, like we're kind of reaching this sort of like natural, you know, neutral place where we can reevaluate them. But again, any movie that allows Joan Cusack to do some of the best work of her career in a fifth
she's so
movie
great in this.
I can't complain about that, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So as we get into our consistent franchise conversation, we're very clear that Toy Story has at least 2 stone cold masterpieces. 3 is probably not far behind in terms of stone cold masterpiece. And then 4 and 5 are also great films. They just may not be quite as great as the first 3. So it's 5 for 5. That's almost impossible to achieve. All right. So I got a few other franchises in here, and I wanted to talk about them with you guys.
Okay.
I got a question.
Any can beat Toy Story for like the best batting average.
That was going to be one of my first questions, is what do we consider a franchise? Like, is there a magic sort of number that we have to meet? Because there's a ton of trilogies.
I think for this exercise, it needs to be more than 4, like 4 or more. Like, it can't be a trilogy.
Okay.
And I
think
that's
what I was going to ask.
In order for this debate, I think in order for Toy Story to be dethroned, you need to have more than like at least 5 movies that work in the series. You know, we're doing like a ratio thing.
Because I was gonna say the before trilogy kills all.
That doesn't count.
Like,
trilogies are not counting. Jason can't come in here and be like, "Oh, but the Man with No Name series." Like, no, we're not doing that.
Fair enough.
I agree. I'm fine with that. And I'm gonna say right up front, I don't think that nothing's gonna dethrone Toy Story.
You don't think?
I looked a little bit. Maybe you guys will toss out a name, and I'll be like, "Oh wow, I hadn't thought about that one." Again, if we're talking, 4 or more, 5 or more films, nothing matches the quality of the Toy Story films. The fact that the worst, either 4 or 5 are the worst of them, and we just sat here and praised 5 endlessly. Nothing is that good.
Are we talking quantity here? Because that was one of my other things too, is like, because you have something like the Bond series that has way more than 5 great films, so it technically beats Toy Story, but the ratio is terrible.
Yes,
you know,
there are the ratio. Hold on,
number
of awful Bond movies to great Bond movies, I would say.
Maybe. See, I was going to say there have been 25.
Yeah.
There have been 25 Bond films, 25 main Bond films. And I'm not counting the 2 that were made sort of outside of the Broccoli family.
No, those don't count.
I think of the 25, there are 5 or 6 of them that are bad. There are 5 or 6 of them that are really great, and then the others are fairly good. I think Bond is reasonably consistent.
I would. It's a no for me on Bond. I agree with what you're saying that there's like a small handful that are like outright embarrassments, and then there's a small handful, mostly in the Craig and Connery era. Although I do personally really love On Her Majesty's Secret Service, that are like, A plus. This is about as good as you can get with this series, but Bond has a lot that's just kind of in that like 3-star mediocre middle. You know what I mean?
Fine.
Like
This is fine.
the highs are high,
Yeah.
the lows are low, but it's been going on for so long that there's a lot of just sort of like, do I remember what Octopussy is about? Not really.
Yeah.
But I know I've seen
No, the Roger Moore era, the Timothy Dalton era are kind of
the
Yeah,
the
I'm with you.
Brosnan era. There's only really
I
like
guess-
one good one.
Right, that's true. Yeah. All right, well, so
So
let
I
me
guess-
toss out another really quick. Let me
So I was
toss.
going to say, I guess
Yeah.
John Wick doesn't count because there's only 4.
Oh, but that is close. That's the closest I think we've gotten.
Because
with
there's
the
not a
suggestion
bad
of
one.
those.
I mean, 3
No.
is the weakest, but it's still solid.
Yeah.
We're about to get a John Wick 5, so
Are we?
maybe it will be in there
No.
once we get.
Ba-
But 5 is
We're
really
going to
good.
pretend like Ballerina doesn't exist because that doesn't
Yeah, it
count.
does
Yeah.
not count. Yeah. So I got so what do you guys think about the Mission Impossible series? We got 8 films. 3 of them, I think 3 Mission Impossible films, 3 of them are just outstanding.
I think all
There's
of them.
3 more that are
there's-
pretty good, and there are 2 that are bad.
All
2
of
are
them
genuinely
good.
bad.
Yeah. All of them are good, but 2 of them. I would say the 2 stinkers are the one that came out last year, and then
And 2.
the John Woo one. Yeah. But all
Yeah.
the others, I think, are at the very least, like, all the others fit the Toy Story thing. You know what I mean? Of like, the highs are like, this is one of the best action movies I've ever seen, but like, at its lowest, it is like, well, that was still like a really fun time at the movies. You know what I mean? So I would say
So-
Mission Impossible is the only one that I thought of that like could rival Toy Story for like.
So my question is this then. I'm going to put my thumb on the scale a little bit and say, would you... I'm trying to figure out how to set my parameters. So like with Mission Impossible, is there a situation where the 1 or 2 bad entries are so bad that it kind of leaves a bad take? Because like one of the issues with the Mission Impossible series is its theoretically last film is one of the bad ones. So it's kind of
Yeah.
leaving you with a sour taste in your mouth a little bit.
By the way,
I don't think of it that way just because of like so many of the Mission Impossible movies, except for the last couple, are just like standalone adventure. So it doesn't. It's
That's fair.
like that's part of the wonkiness of that last one is like this never felt like something that was like an accumulating story. So like I almost think of it as like, okay, Mission Impossible 1, great. Mission Impossible 2, bad. I'm doing like finger things here, like no one listening can see what
Yeah.
I'm doing, but you guys can. Mission
By the way, super quick. The kind of amazing thing to me about Mission Impossible is that the first one's very good. I think it's barely in the top half of the entire series. Like Mission Impossible is like this bell curve.
Oh,
where
yeah.
it gets better and better toward the middle of the 8 films. Like once you get to like 4, 5, 6,
yeah.
it's just like fucking masterpieces. They are great
Yeah, it's like
films.
the J.J. Abrams one is, I would say the one that's kind
It's
of
good.
like,
I really
solidly good.
I like 3 more than a lot of people. But
Yeah.
once you
It's
get to
Tom
Ghost
Cruise-
Protocol,
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise in an Alias episode, which is
Yes,
fine. I like
yes.
Alias.
It's fine.
You know,
It's fun, yeah. But then,
but once
yeah,
you
I
get
agree
to
when
the
you
Brad
get to
Pitt, like Ghost Protocol and the next couple after that are just awesome, and then it starts to go downhill again.
So I would say you have like 5 movies that are like big thumbs up from us, and then you have 2 that are stinkers. And I would still say that like that puts it pretty neck and neck with Toy Story. Of like Toy Story has I think like 2 or 3 bangers, and then 2 that are pretty solid, and that's like kind of what I would think of with the Mission Impossible movies. as well as Mission Impossible because it's a longer running franchise. They also happen to have 2 bad entries.
Okay, I got the next entry for you guys to consider. Shrek.
No, I hate all the
So-
Shrek movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See, I feel like
There's-
we've got
this is
I'm
a famous bit
including-
with me is that
This
I
is a
don't get-
generational thing. This is a generational thing.
I like don't get Shrek. Like I don't get the
Oh, wow.
admiration people have for Shrek.
There's
I
one
feel
and a
like-
half good Shreks.
No, I disagree. I
Yeah.
think there are 3 good Shrek films.
No.
Of the 4 Shrek films, I think 3 of them are good.
No.
There are 2 Puss in Boots films that are part of this.
There's one great Puss in Boots film, but if we're not counting Ballerina, we're not counting Puss in Boots.
Oh, okay. Well, then my
Yeah.
argument falls apart because I think Puss in
Yeah.
Boots helped elevate it.
No,
All right, so
Puss in Boots:
let's
The
put
Last
Shrek aside.
Wish is fantastic, but I wouldn't say it's a part of the Shrek. Puss in Boots and Puss in Boots 2, Shrek never shows up. So at least
Okay,
with
all right.
Ballerina, John Wick shows up.
Okay, all right. Let's put Shrek aside. I got another
right, I
nominee
got-
for you.
Okay, you go for it.
I was, how about Spider-Man? We have 3 Tobey Maguire films. 2 of them are really great. Hold on. 2 Andrew Garfield films. One is
Both
good.
are bad. No.
One of them is
those
okay.
are so bad. Those are brilliant.
They're
Those are
bad.
awful.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
bad.
I think all 3 of the Tom Holland films are really, really good, and the buzz
They're
on the
good.
4th one's really good. And 2 Spider-Verse films that are stone cold masterpieces.
Do we count those as the same series, though? I know that
Yeah,
No
they're all
Way
about
Home
Spider-Man.
tries
Right.
to-
This is an interesting debate because Spider-Man is one of the kind of like James Bond. Is it the characters, the continuing franchise?
And I was going to say, I know that Spider-Verse and No Way Home are trying to interweave all of them, and I know. So yeah, I guess they
okay,
do
yeah.
since
I
since
will
Maguire
say-
and Garfield show up in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a no from me, but only
I would say
because
no.
I think the Tom Holland movies I maybe controversially think are fine. I love him as Spider-Man.
Really?
But like, yeah. They're like
No,
they're
I
okay.
would say that no, just because I don't think they count as a series if you retrofit them to be a series. And 2 out of 3 Tobey Maguire ones are good. I know people are trying to bring 3 back or trying to
No,
three's not
I
good.
said 2 out of 3 of them are good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Andrew Garfield is great. The movies around him are not. It's a Supergirl situation.
Okay.
So I would say no, but I'm not going to begrudge other people who love Spider-Man that say yes.
All right, Josh, you had a nominee. Go ahead. Give me yours.
I don't even want to bring this up just because of how rotten the apple has turned. But
Uh-oh.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Oh,
I had Harry Potter on my
Oh.
list. I actually think Harry Potter's worth
Yeah.
considering.
Harry Potter
Yeah.
works. This is one of those separate the art from the artist things. Like J.K. Rowling sucks now, but the 8 Harry Potter movies are undeniably
the
good.
Fantastic Beast ones are really the only ones
No,
I
no.
don't
Well,
like.
see, I was
we're
gonna say,
pretending that that's the
Okay.
spin-off thing.
Okay,
So,
So
if we
like,
go-
that's
is
like a ballerina
the
thing.
weakest Harry Potter movies are like the 2 Chris Columbus ones. Like that's
Yeah. That's your
like,
bell
that's-
curve thing again,
right.
where like it starts solid.
it starts
And
fine,
then-
like okay kids movies, and then it goes
Your
like
third movie's a freaking Alfonso Cuarón movie,
right.
You know,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I would argue is still the best in the series. But
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
not
had-
even
I
a
had
question.
I had Harry Potter on my list of things to consider. I was like 8 films. I think 5 of them at least are really, really strong. And they're
but
really
none of them are bad.
yeah, they're really
Yeah.
2 of them that are sort of like, okay. But
They're
I think
still
that's a
like
pretty-
if you stumble across them on TV, you're like, oh, I forgot about this part. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion that I think it might make Jason fall back in his chair, but I'm gonna suggest Alien, and here's my defense. Here's my defense. Alien and Aliens, stone cold masterpieces.
Right.
No question
Alien-
about it.
Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, not very good. Interesting, but not very good. I am a big defender of the like late period Ridley Scott ones.
No.
Like
No.
Prometheus,
No.
I think is so
No.
underrated at this
No.
point.
No,
And
this
Alien
is a
Covenant,
generational thing.
Alien
No.
Covenant and Alien Romulus, I think are solid horror movies. Like not like kind of a mess,
Yeah.
but like they provide the scares.
Prometheus is garbage.
No,
Alien
what?
Covenant is the Alien Covenant. The one thing I remember about that film is halfway through that film, my friend going, "Man, fuck this movie," and that's the most memorable part of Alien Covenant to me because I was like,
See, I
"Can
was
I
gonna
just
say,
do
I
my
think
review?"
Prometheus is okay until the ending when it just starts to fall apart. So I'm fine with Prometheus. I thought Alien Covenant was there's nothing surprising or interesting
It's a
that happened.
silly, ridiculous movie, but there's at least like a nastiness to it that
Now,
at
if
least
we
like
were
satisfies a
doing-
horror urge.
If we were doing a list of like tonal whiplash, like up and down movies, yeah, Alien's number one. Like it's like there's some great ones and some garbage ones.
Well, see, I was gonna say it's weighed down to me because like whatever, like 3, 4, and 5 or whatever, Resurrection, those are terrible, like almost
Three and
unwatchably
Resurrection-
bad.
3 and Resurrection are not good. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that destroys a lot of it. I got one, and I'm going to say this, and Jesse's going to just jump out of his chair with excitement. You ready for it?
Uh-oh.
How about the 28 blank later?
Oh.
5?
Yeah, but we're only at 4, so
We're about to get a 5th.
I know, but like I
So we
I
can-
want to be there. I want to be there.
And-
I'm
I mean,
just
they're
saying
pretty damn good.
And
They're
you've also
really
got
good.
to see
the worst one is 2, and that one is only like the worst one because it's like an okay like 3 out of 5 star zombie movie. The rest
and
are
so
like,
how do we
amazing.
approach that one when the main creative team is like, yeah, the second one didn't happen. They're retconning
that
it like
Right,
how
that
it
doesn't
exactly.
matter. You can't just like retcon. It's not like we've erased all the copies of 28 Weeks Later off the internet. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
No one's like deleting the negatives at Sony Pictures. Like that
When,
movie.
when,
yeah,
Gar-
I'll-
but when,
whether they
Gar-
like it or
when
not.
Garland and Boyle get together and they do it together, we've got, and I'm excited for the last one. I know that the
I
Bone
hope they
Temple
get to
didn't do a
make
lot of
it.
money, but
None of the
And I
neither
would
one of
argue
them
that-
did money, but like that these will grow a cult following of like they're so I rewatched Bone Temple.
Bone Temple's a great
Bone
film.
Bone Temple's the best one. So like
Yeah.
the 4th movie in the series is the best one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if there was, if we're going by our 5 rule, I say no. But if we're judging based on how it is so far, yes.
It's
Well,
got the
like I said-
potential to go up there, but it's not quite at like I still think Toy Story has it beat, if only because
Yeah,
it's
that's
got
true.
like by one movie.
Well, I want to be clear. Like I said at the outset of this, if we're trying to find the franchise that can match or beat Toy Story, it's not happening. It's just not happening. So I just think it's interesting to discuss. Are these how consistent are these
Yeah.
franchises?
Yeah.
So any other nominees? We've hit everyone on my list.
I wanted to save this one because I figured it would be the one that we could kind of argue about in an asterisk-y way.
Mm,
I think most people would say that from Iron Man to Endgame is a complete end of story, beginning of story, end of story thing.
yeah.
Would we say the MCU through Endgame? I know they're trying to keep it going, but I think most of the population has collectively agreed, no, Endgame was it.
I say no because I think none of the movies, maybe with the exception of 1 or 2 in the MCU, reach the heights of some of the other series that we've talked about thus far. And there are way more bad movies.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. I don't know.
I'd see, that's what I was going to say, is like, I was going to go back to the Bond argument again, because I would argue, I know that in hindsight, we're being a lot harder on Marvel than we used to be just because of what happened post Endgame. In that initial set of films, we're talking Iron Man through Endgame, I would argue there's only 3 or 4 genuinely bad movies.
Yeah. It's super consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, so
I just don't think the
bad ones.
highs are that like this is an argument for another day, but I think in a few it's already kind of happening now. I think we're going to go back to like some of those Russo brother Marvel movies that we were like praising in the moment and like go back to them and be like, these are low key overrated.
Oh
No,
man, no.
Winter Soldier and
Hold on,
Civil
hold on.
War still
Here are the
hold up.
highs. Here are the highs. Hold on. So Iron Man
okay.
clearly,
Good.
the Avengers. I know Josh Whedon
yeah,
is,
good.
but that's a great
Canceled
film.
now.
It's
Yeah.
a fun movie.
I would say Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, the original Ant-Man's pretty damn good. I think Civil War.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man?
That
airport
movie's
fight?
overrated. That's my hot take.
Black Panther, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and
Black
then
Panther's
Infinity
good.
War and Endgame. That's a lot of really, really good films.
I think that's what I was going to say. Is like I know in hindsight we're punishing Marvel for trying to extend their bite at the apple, but from OG Iron Man through Endgame, I think it's pretty darn consistent.
All right, so what are the bad films in there? I mean,
Incredible
clearly,
Hulk.
yeah, clearly Incredible Hulk.
Most of the Thor movies.
Thor: The Dark World's pretty bad.
I would say all the Thor movies except for the first Taika Waititi movie.
See, the ones that I come looking back on, like Iron Man 2's rough, but it still has
Iron
its
Man
moments.
2's bad. That movie.
It's
Iron
bad.
Man 2 is
It's-
not that good. I agree.
Yeah, but even something that is not as good, like Age of Ultron, is not great, but there's some interesting stuff in it.
I think Ant-Man. I was not a big fan of
kind of a
Ant-Man and
mess.
the Wasp.
Oh
Yeah.
no! What happens in that movie? Nothing.
But even your overhated stuff like Captain Marvel is still fun.
Captain Marvel's
You know?
bad.
The thing about the MCU for me is like there are like one or two movies that reach like the really, really high mark for me, and I think there's only like one or two that reached like the really, really low part within the time frame that you're given, because like
So didn't you just define consistent though? That defines
no.
consistent.
I'm saying if we're saying consistent of like if you have like 8 3-star out of 5-star movies, like I consider that like that's not that consistent.
That's
I mean
you're
that's
wrong.
consistently mediocre.
So wait. First of all, you're wrong.
You
It's
just
not.
defined Bond though.
I know, but that's why I said Bond is consistently mediocre outside of like some high highs and low lows.
Okay, so first of all, Jesse, you're wrong that they're a bunch of 3 stars. Most of those MCU movies are 3.5, 4-star movies for sure. I agree there, and frankly, there are probably, I don't know, like 4 or 5 of them that are 5 stars at least. So
I don't think Marvel's got a single 5-star movie in it. That's
now you're crapping on them in hindsight.
no. We
it's
were overrating this in the moment.
It's cool to bash Marvel now because most of their stuff is incredibly poor.
Which ones are you giving 5 stars to?
Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Endgame. Civil
No.
War. I mean, are you
No,
kidding? Not
no.
Civil
No,
War.
you're one of those people that like when an artist gets canceled, you're like, their stuff was never that good anyway.
No,
Like,
no.
Oh, Michael Jackson was a bad person. Oh, his music was always bad anyway. Like,
Michael Jackson makes good music. I'm here to say that.
So it's easy to crap
I meant
on
to say
something
Winter.
in
By the way, I meant to
hindsight
say
when
Winter
it falls
Soldier
off.
when I said Civil
Yeah.
War, I meant Winter Soldier. But
Yeah. We knew what you meant, but yeah, you can't say there's no 4-star Marvel movies when there are. Like, you're just objectively wrong.
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are good, and Black Panther.
All right.
I enjoy.
So
Look
are
at
those all our-
Jesse being all edgy. It's cool. You're the coolest film bro, Jesse.
I really like
Gold
Iron
Star
Man
film
3.
bro. I
Iron
do
Man
like
3
Iron Man
was
3.
good. That's one of the better ones.
Anyways, what about Planet of the Apes?
No. Are you
Okay,
kidding me? You know
I
how
know
many
what
bad
you're
movies there are there?
No. That
How
might
many-
be that's a conversation for another day of weirdest movie franchise, because the Planet of the
Yeah,
Apes
maybe
series,
most
if
interesting.
you're
maybe most
taking
interesting.
quality out of it and you watch all of them, you're like, this series is absolute bananas.
It's like
There are at
campy
least-
and
no pun
nihilistic at the
intended.
same time, but yeah,
There are at least 4 Planet of the Apes movies that are terrible.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I just know they have their fans, so I want to throw it out there.
They do. It's kind of in that spot of kind of like the Friday the 13th movies of sort of like these aren't really that good, but as a whole and of like the differences between them, it's a very weird franchise.
Oh, speaking of, yeah, well, because I was thinking Scream, but
No.
No.
There's like 2 good
So, yeah.
Scream movies.
Yeah, horror is notoriously inconsistent because I know people would make the case for the Freddy movies, but most of those are pretty bad. So.
No.
All right,
All right, so we're done. We don't have any other nominees.
Yeah, I think
Look,
that's
like
no,
I said,
I was trying to bring up some also ran so that people weren't like, what about all 5 of our listeners?
yeah, nothing. Look, nothing was going to touch Toy Story, the Toy Story franchise.
I
said at the
I
start.
think you're right.
Yeah.
I think Toy Story's pretty untouchable.
Yeah. Oh well. But we
Of
found
all
some
the
other
others
interesting
that
ones
we-
to talk about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe the closest is Harry Potter, which
Harry
is kind
Potter
of
or
weird. I
Mission
didn't see that
Impossible,
coming.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
So there you go.
probably. And if we go ahead and say MCU Iron Man through Endgame, then I think that's up there as well. But
Me
we
too.
can agree to disagree. That's what
2
this
out of 3.
podcast
Jesse's
is all
outvoted.
about.
Ha ha. Yay, democracy.
History will be on my side.
Only because history keeps on making the
Getting
MCU
worse
worse
and
and worse and worse.
All
All right, with that, we're going to wrap it up here on the Movie Joust podcast. We got more films coming. It's the middle of summertime. We're about to hit a bunch of July. July's just got full of big films, including Oppenheimer coming your way. So we got Minions.
Maybe if
we got
this
Minions
is
coming up soon.
2023, we got the
Yeah.
Odyssey, bro.
Yeah, the Odyssey.
Did I say Oppenheimer?
You said,
You said
Oppenheimer.
Ah,
Freudian slip. You're like, I want it to
No,
be
what
as
a-
good as Oppenheimer.
I know you wish you were doing TV work with me still, Jason, but like that time has passed.
wow.
So yeah, are we? So I was thinking, yeah, July. Your biggies are. You almost had me saying it again. The Odyssey and Spider-Man, right? Those are your 2 biggies in July.
Yeah,
and
I guess so.
Minions. I mean, in
Minions
terms
is
of
going to be huge, but I
Yeah.
didn't figure we could kind of like critically evaluate Minions. We're just going to be like,
Yeah.
it was fun.
You can't get me to watch a Minions movie. There's
I'm going to
no
be
way.
out of town, so I'm going to miss
Yeah.
the screening. But
there's also a live action Moana coming.
Oh yeah.
And- yeah.
You definitely can't get me to see that.
and let's not forget next week the absolute 10 greatest political thrillers of all time.
Oh yeah, we should definitely do an episode on that. That'll be fun.
Yep. Okay. Our critic, yes, for folks who are like, what the hell are they talking about? Our critics group, the Atlanta Film Critics Circle, will be releasing a list of the 10 best political thrillers of all time. All, like 40 members of our group. We all voted. We got some really interesting. We're getting all the results right now. Josh and I are.
And we can explain to people what a political thriller is, because I think there may be some confusion on that definition.
That's an
Thankfully,
entire episode.
Thankfully, Winter Soldier didn't wind up as the #1, so we dodged that bullet.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, that was one thing when people were like, it's like 3 Days of the Condor. It's like, as somebody who watched 3 Days of the Condor a couple of nights ago, no, it's not.
All right, with that, we'll wrap it up here on the Movie Joust podcast. Jesse Nussman, Josh Sewell, and me, Jason Evans. Thanks a lot. We will see you at the movies. Adios.